clear. East side. Ready. Count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The 10-second implosion of an entire city block without as much as a broken window in adjacent properties isn't the result of luck. It's the product of decades of explosives demolition experience on thousands of projects performed by Controlled Demolition International. The history of CDI began in the early 1950s when Jacques Loiseau pioneered the use of explosives to fell structures for his clients. Using a staged analytical approach, he was able to dynamically control the failure of chimneys, bridges, and towers with predictable results. On every project, he faithfully documented site and structural conditions, technical applications, and final results for future reference. Within the decade, CDI was bringing down multi-storied structures throughout the United States. The Loiseau reputation for problem-solving and experience in structural demolition spread through the industry, leading to the export of CDI services overseas. Mark and Doug Loiseau worked with their father for years before and during their university studies. Their return to the corporate group in the early 70s to take over management of the Loiseau companies brought the engineering and business skills which would guarantee the refinement of the Loiseau technique and assure the continued expansion demanded by their international clientele. As an engineering group, CDI analyzes each structure to determine its innate strengths and weaknesses. Through the application of an unparalleled historical database and proprietary dynamic failure design capability, CDI develops a unique differential velocity controlled system of implosion for the structure. Charge placement and critical detonation sequence is determined and plotted. Once in the field, CDI personnel fine-tune the program to accommodate chain structural or site conditions, execute preparation requirements, and carefully place the charges that will take the client's wishes and turn them into reality. When the Travelers Insurance Building became redundant for the needs of the parent corporation, their real estate division was faced with replacing a major structure in a congested and politically sensitive section of Boston. For developers and property owners, time is money, and every month this valuable tract was vacant would cost its owners hundreds of thousands of dollars. The consulting arm of the Loiseau Group was retained to control the cost and risk associated with the site clearance phase of the project. Their program called for the staged evacuation of the building while CDI's crews followed closely behind, removing asbestos and preparing the massive 450,000 square foot complex. Just 14 days after the departure of the final tenant, abatement and preparation operations were complete, and CDI had strategically placed and wired over 600 explosive charges on 13 levels of the office complex. As the Loiseaus made their final circuit check, a safety cordon closed around the area. All was ready. The huge structure bowed before wave after wave of carefully timed charges, and the Travelers building collapsed into a pile of well-fractured debris. There was no structural damage to adjacent improvements as close as 15 feet away, and century-old utility services surrounding the complex were uninterrupted. CDI and its subcontractors cleared the 78,000 tons of demolition debris in less than 40 days, allowing new construction to begin 25 days ahead of the already expedited schedule. The Loiseau Group's turnkey management and performance effort saved its client over 9 months and nearly $2 million in cost. Not every project provides the luxury of advanced planning. Oil production operations in the Gulf of Mexico were disrupted when Pemex's Abcatun 91 rig became an inferno. The Mexican oil giant's efforts to extinguish the fire were foiled by a red-hot superstructure that endangered workers and kept the flare alive. Reaching the oil fields just hours after being summoned, CDI's emergency crew worked around the clock, placing specialty charges on the rig's legs near the Gulf floor and just below the platform. The detonation sequence was timed to angle the entry of the platform into the water to keep it afloat. At 4:04 a.m., the charges were detonated, and the platform dove into the Gulf waters, exactly as CDI had planned. CDI's emergency services are not limited to industrial operations. A massive earthquake that devastated Mexico City left many buildings damaged but standing. The Mexican government engaged CDI's response team to handle explosives and supervise a consortium of contractors to prepare several structures at once for implosion. In all, the Loazo Group felled 26 structures while maintaining scheduled projects for its international clients. The precision application of explosives is the most effective means of removing chimneys and towers. Compared to conventional dismantling, CDI's design and use of the minimum amount of explosives eliminates the need to work in high places and completes the project in a fraction of the time. Whether a structure is 100 or more than 600 feet tall, in an open area or within the confines of operational facilities, CDI can bring it down quickly, efficiently, and with far greater safety. Marine and salvage projects are the most challenging of demolition operations. A successful design is born out of experience gained in thousands of applications, analysis of each structural detail, and assessment of critical site conditions. CDI's experience and precision application guarantees fragmentation of concrete structures or rock to underwater removal limits and ensures segmentation of bridge structures. Explosives are effective in the modification of oil exploration vessels and the salvage of marine structures. In an environment where a second try won't come easily, perfect results the first time are the product of CDI's experience. Efforts at rock excavation by local contractors forced hydroelectric units offline at the Guri Dam in Venezuela. Called to the site to complete excavation adjacent to the main powerhouse, CDI stayed on to supervise the blasting of 17 million cubic meters of rock for Guri's expansion. Even more sensitive performance requirements were met in CDI's delicate removal of massively reinforced seismic mats, adjoining operational reactors for Virginia Electric Power Company. CDI systematically dismantled 7,000-ton shipways at Newport News, Virginia, through the use of explosives. The felling of craneways and trestles was timed to shift changes to avoid disruption of shipyard schedules. CDI cleared the site for new construction ahead of schedule and under budget without disturbing nuclear fuel storage facilities as close as 10 meters away. Ensuring its projects with up to $100 million in coverage, the Loazo Group provides services unequaled in the industry: consulting, management, performance, and emergency response. Whether in Africa, Australia, the Middle East, Europe, Asia, the Arctic, North, or South America, CDI has the diversity of experience and contacts to get the job done. Controlled Demolition International, explosives pioneers providing demolition services worldwide.
Three,